Hello guys and welcome to today's STPL. Looks like I completely forgot to fix the white balance, and also I'm looking in completely the wrong place because I've finally got a second screen, which is amazing thanks to some amazing contributions on Patreon and also getting a Christmas bonus this year. I managed to afford one. I thought I'd fix this, but let me just quickly do this now. We're here for 2 series today, should be a lot of fun. This new monitor makes it a little bit easier to do some things, a little bit harder to do others because the colors are a lot better. And doing that seems to... there we go. That looks a lot better. I look less like a ghost. I moved... I removed too much white, I guess. But here we go. The good thing is we have a new monitor. It's a little bit higher up, so to actually look at it, I'm looking directly at it as well. The cool thing is, one thing I've noticed is this is a bit far. A massive deal, and now it's actually made the other side worse. So I really hate the green screen I've got. It's so stupid. Let's just move this in a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be heading into 2 more series. I do need to get a new chair. What I'm going to do is next salary, which is February, I will see if I can buy a new chair, because this is probably the last thing I need to update, just because I've had this chair since 2014 maybe, so about 6 years, and as you can see, like, all the fake leather has come off the back. It was an IKEA chair. You know what, it started off, it was really comfortable, and now it's just got worse. So if anyone's got any chair recommendations, please give them to me. I'm just going to move the chat to a different side of my monitor. Now I've got that ability to do it, and then hopefully when I'm looking over, I'm not looking too far over away from the front of the screen. But good thing is, when I'm actually casting now, I'm going to be able to do all this, and I can actually sit, so I'm not like bending down to look at the monitor, which makes things a lot better. Is that what the IKEA chair is? I don't actually know what it is, but yeah, it's been really comfortable, and then recently it's just got more and more uncomfortable, I guess, because the it's probably because, if you think about it, the cushion is probably gone in the bottom part, so yeah, it could be that. Either way, unless that's a new recommendation, that'd be cool. Either way, let's get into it. Obviously, I'm going to be casting. I was meant to do the CMSL yesterday. I didn't, so I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. It's a drafting stool. Okay, well, let's have a look. There was something that popped up that I don't know how this happened, but there was a little bit of a change to the team rankings. Red were like 5 for... No, they were 4 for 6, but they've actually gone to 4 for 5 for some reason, and I don't know how I managed to do it. What was I going to say? I don't know how I managed to do it, but the day I was sick, it was when I was casting Red versus Bull. I managed to add the win to the wrong team, so that was a little bit unfortunate. It took me a while to figure out how to fix it, but I did. But yeah, having a stool would probably be good, but my I don't really want to sit on a stool. I want something. Yeah, Red versus Bull. That was funny. That was a meme match. But yeah, that's put Red. It's actually, I think they moved down, but only because they moved up momentarily, then Naz overtook them, but their game difference is a lot better now. So rather than being, I think they would have been 15-27, no, 15-26. They're now on 18-23, so definitely a lot better. And yeah, it is good for branding. What we need to do is we need to get the teams to merge, and then speak to Red Bull Esports and get them to sponsor the team. If anyone wants to do that, that'd be amazing. And funny enough, Albert, you just did the juice thing. That's what I'm doing. I'm drinking some apple juice. I'm risking it. I don't know if this is a good idea, but let's have a look at the player rankings as well. So player rankings, they're pretty stable. They've not really changed. I did have to recalculate all the ELO when to fix the Red versus Bull game, but because none of these top teams have actually played against Red or Bull for a while, it didn't affect their ranking whatsoever. So everything still looking good in the top 10. Scan did overtake Noob on Monday, so that's a pretty big change. He's not too far ahead of Noob though, so next time Noob plays, and if he wins, then he should be able to move back up depending on who his opponent is. DeWalt I think he may have moved up to 3rd. Koga in 4th, of course. Eon Zerg in 5th. Famasi in 6th. Spire in 7th. He's not actually played for a little bit. Tai 2 moving up to 8th. Dragon in 9th. And Yeti in 10th. How many games has Noob played this season? I'm not too sure. I think he's played in most of the weeks though. So that's pretty cool. Somehow, quick action should be... Where the hell did this fit before? I moved it... You know there's the new like Twitch dashboard? I moved everything around and now it's made everything else look terrible. I'm just quickly trying to fix that. It's not too important, which is good, but luckily enough I can do that while I'm doing everything else because I've got 2 screens. Hooray! Let's have a look at our matchup for today, at least our first one. We're going to be starting off here with DM versus White Clan. DM have been doing pretty well for themselves this season. Well, not this season actually. They were doing a little bit better last season. They're 1 win, 8 loss this season. Sorry, I read that around the wrong way. White Clan doing pretty much as well as they did last season. They're in 3rd place at the moment. Valhalla team and Soul are obviously in front of them. So they are doing a little bit... They're not doing badly, but comparatively, I'm not too sure. But Monoris, I'm glad you've started. I have just started as well, so that's always good. Let's have a look at today's rosters. This could be a little bit of a one-sided matchup, but we have some good game matchups, which is good. We've got Vulture versus Kane Yang. Now, Kane Yang, I don't actually know anything about, so I'm not really too sure what to expect from him, but it's going to be a TVP. We're going to have J1 versus Yuppie. Now, J1 we've seen. He's actually a pretty strong Terran on DM, so it's going to be cool to see him play against Yuppie, because Yuppie's quite a strong Protoss player. We're going to have a PVZ in Pre versus Fairy. Pre is one of the stronger members of DM, their Protoss roster that is, and he plays some very, very weird styles, so I'll kind of be interested to see how he's going to do against Fairy, who's a strong Zerg on Neo Arkanoid. Then we're going to have a TVT between Kyrie and Bai. Kyrie, unfortunately, cannot get away from TVT. I think the last 4 or 5 weeks he's played, he's been up against the Terran. We'll be able to see that soon, but at least in my head, I feel like this is what he's been doing. I can't remember seeing a non-TVT from him for a while, so a little bit unfortunate there from him, but still should be good regardless. Let's introduce our first map and then we can have a look at the first game as well. But map stats wise, Multiverse. Multiverse, interestingly, has been a little bit more one-sided, at least in TVZ. Other than that, it's been pretty well balanced. TVP, Protoss are just below being in favor. It's almost even, so this could be an important match, but we've had some good matchups on here. I'm sure this one will not be any different. Let's introduce our first player. It's going to be Vulture here for DM. He's only played a few games, only 6 of them. He has got a 50% win rate. He is 2-1 over Protoss. And I mean, if we look at the Protoss he's played against, he played against DeWalt and lost. He played against Grast and Erob and won. So, bit of a mismatch there in terms of losing and winning. I mean, many Terrans, even the top foreign Terrans, could lose to DeWalt. Even the top Korean Terrans in the STPL could lose to DeWalt as well. So, not too much to say about him. Kane Yang doesn't actually have any stats whatsoever, so I don't actually know what to expect from him. But I think it will be pretty good to watch. So let's get into game number 1. It's Vulture versus Kane Yang, and it's going to be here on Multiverse. Starting us off down here in the wonderful magenta, calling from the United States of America. It's playing for DM. It's Vulture. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right hand position is the yellow Protoss playing from South Korea for White Clan. It's Kane Yang. And Heinz, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. White Clan historically, they don't really play outside of Korea. Seoul's Koreans, of course, they play in G's Weekly, they play in Have At You, they play in all the different tournaments and whatnot. But White Clan only really play in STPL and the Korean leagues. So the other thing you may not know about White Clan, which I know, is they have a roster which is over 90 deep. So every once in a while they'll pull out a player that maybe they haven't shown before. But in terms of stats, in terms of favor, Vulture is, but only because we don't have any stats for Kane Yang whatsoever. So interestingly, Vulture is actually building the wall incorrectly here. You'd rather build the depot and then a barracks, but we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, in terms of zealot walling, this is definitely the wrong way around. So maybe that could be a little bit of a show what could happen. We've only got a gateway coming in now. One thing you're gonna have to go easy on me here. Where I've got the new monitor, where the colors are so much better, all the colors I'm used to seeing are different. So I've actually got my saying that, I'm wondering if the contrast on my monitor is off a little bit. Maybe I need to fiddle around with it still, but essentially things are a lot darker than they used to be on my old monitor. Although saying that, I've got the video feed playing on my old monitor, so that probably affects it. I'm seeing the old colors on there. Yeah, it looks normal, so it's weird, but I may miss a few things while I get used to all the new colors and everything. I've had it since yesterday morning, and today I got a new power cable to plug in my old one as well, so I'm still getting used to having two monitors for the first time in, like, I think it's been about 7 years maybe. I have 2 monitors at work, I have 3 at work, but never had it at home, so that's good. We should have a couple of exciting matchups coming in today. First of all, obviously we've got DM versus White Clan. Then we're going to have IRK versus Valhalla team. Now, IRK, of course, is where DeWalt lives, where Marwin lives, where SPX lives, and Valhalla team are second in the league at the moment. We could have some very, very fun matchups there. I'm actually really looking forward to that. DM versus White Clan, I mean, just based on statistics with how DM have done this season, I think White Clan should be able to pull this out the bag relatively easily. But as the format is best of 1, yeah, as the format is best of 1, and the fact that maps are, although they're not really weird to these players anymore because they've been playing for a while, it's kind of funny because anyone can win. Like, anything can happen. You can already see Kane Yang is building a proxy, probably Robo down here. Could be for a proxy Citadel because he is going for a second gateway. We'll have to see in a second though, but this is one of the things, like, until we see stuff happening. Now, is this a Robo or is it a Citadel? I think based on the size, it's a Citadel. But I'm going to make myself a fool here by looking at it be a Robo. It is a Robo. Robo and Citadel's same size, I guess, when they're warping in. Unless all buildings are and I'm just really blind, but that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Vulture, meanwhile, is going for 1 factory. He's only just now getting his machine shop, which isn't necessarily too late, but he did actually go for a... He didn't go for a Vulture first. Okay, so that machine shop is very late for some reason. Kind of interesting to see that. It's not often you would delay the machine shop that late, because obviously you are going to get your tank very, very slowly. The trouble with this wall as well is the bunker, you can't repair it fully because the SCVs cannot get through this gap, I don't think. But we'll have to see how that goes. We've got Kane Yang moving across with a lot of his Dragoons right now. Should have a Robo support bay coming in on the next 200 minerals. There we go. We've got a Robo support bay coming in. So it is going to be Proxy Reaver. And without a tank, without Siege, this is going to be very difficult for Vulture to be able to hold on to. If you've got the 6-minute cursor mode, be it through channel points or through subbing, I definitely think this is the kind of game where you need to get it ready, because it's a little bit awkward. Vulture definitely going to be having trouble here. Siege mode is I mean, it's almost done, but the first tank... Okay, the first tank is here, so he is going to be able to hold on at least momentarily. But if this Reaver can get in and do damage, this is going to end pretty quickly. But nice micro on this tank at the back. Oh, he needs to repair! Oh, he didn't have an... Okay, there we go. The 6-minute cursor mode has activated here because The first tank's going to go down, the bunker falls. And that's the problem with repairing the bunker. It's very easy to not realize that they've suddenly put another Dragoon there. You have to really kind of babysit it. Now, he is going to build a lot of buildings to wall this off. Pretty good job by Vulture. That's going to help him hold on for a little bit. Building this bunker is interesting, as he's not going to get another Marine, but he does have a single Marine left, so that will help. Now, the Robo is done. The Reaver is about to finish up here, and this is really going to separate the boys from the men, as they say, because we're going to have a Reaver and 2 Zealots dropped in the main or the natural hero Vulture. And thinking about it, I mean, Vulture doesn't really have any defense. He's got a single tank. Okay, so he's got 2 tanks. But if he just bulldogs here, this could very well be game over. These tanks are very close together. Okay, good. We see an unsiege there. That should help a little bit against this. Let's hide that because it's impossible to see what's going on. And the trouble is, if the tanks get pulled away, the Dragoons are going to come in and play. The Zealots getting on top of everything. The tanks taking a ton of damage from these Reavers. And look how criminally long it takes a tank to kill a Vulture. A Zealot even. It's crazy. He does manage to keep both of his tanks alive though, which is good. The Dragoons coming in at the front. The wall has been broken. And let's see how much damage this Reaver can do. It doesn't matter. GG. Vulture taps out. Ton of damage, counter 1, yeah. Well, that's fine. Where the heck is my OBS now? Where did I put it? Why can't I alt tab? Here we go. Right, let's go back. So that was a pretty quick game, number 1. A little bit unfortunate there for Vulture. He got picked apart a little bit there, so there's not really too much he can do about that. We're going to be heading into game number 2 when we get back after this very, very short break, because that was an incredibly quick game number 1. So the next game coming up is going to be Yuppie versus J1. It's going to be another PVT, and it's going to be on Whiteout. I can't press buttons.
And people like Kix, for example, who has an encyclopedic knowledge of every map that's ever been released on StarCraft. And
he's a map man! Skibidi on do do. Skibidi on do do. Skibidi on do do. He's a map man! Ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee da ba-ba-da-boop. Ba-ba-ba-da-boop. Bee-da-ba-ba-da-boop. Ba-ba-ba-da-boop. Everybody plays one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If Kix can do it, so can you.
Please don't listen to him for maps.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a ton of Matrino codes still to use, so I'm making this quick video to show you how easy it is to actually use them. So you click the Matrino link, it brings up the Matrino page. In the top right, you hit sign in. You sign in with whatever you want to. In this case, I'm going to sign in with Twitch. That'll take you back to the page. And then if you hit contribute, you put in the coupon code LSTPL. You can put a comment if you want to. And you can hit contribute right there. And it'll add it to the prize pool. Easy as pie. Okay, it's time for a quick tip. Here we have Neo Outlier. I'm going to show you how to get over these temples with a probe. I'll also do it with an SUV. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to be heading into game number 2 momentarily. Let's introduce both of our players. Now once again, White Clan are going to send out one of their newer members. They actually added Yuppie to the roster just before week 10, so this is his first week in White Clan, and it's going to be his first week playing in the STPL as well. But let's have a look at J1. He's been around for quite a bit, so we've seen a good number of his games. So J1, he's got a 60% win rate overall. Probably, I think, I can't tell because obviously it's week 10, Albert. So I can't see all of the stats on this screen. Obviously, I could check the database, I guess, but That wouldn't really help because the ranking is done by the software. But essentially, he's ranked 58 overall, which isn't too bad given how many players there are. A 60% win rate is certainly not too bad, and the only TVP he's played is one. So that was against Chobo on Neo Arkanoid. That was nice as Chobo, and that was back in, is that October? Yeah, it's October. So it's kind of crazy. We've been going for quite a while now. I mean, obviously it's not as bad as Season 1. I mean, Season 1 lasted 15 months, I'm not gonna lie. Probably not the best organization I've ever done, but I thought having like this epic long tournament would be amazing, and then it became really hard to follow. But let's introduce Yuppie. Yuppie, brand new player to White Clan. As I said, not really too much I can say about him because I don't know him personally. But let's have a look at the map we're going to be playing on. It's going to be the one, the only Whiteout. It is a 3-player map. You may notice it in ladder. It's in the ladder map pool now. Very, very fun to play on. So well worth having a look. In terms of stats for PvT, dead even, 3 for 3. Because it's a 3-player map, it doesn't get played every single week, unlike some of the 4-player maps. So there isn't as many games on this as maybe some of the other maps, but it's definitely been a good map. We've had some really good matchups on here, and I'm looking forward to this next one as well. So let's jump on and let's have a look at game number 2. Okay, starting us off down here in the 6 o'clock position, we do have the Blue Protoss fighting for White Clan. It's Yuppie. And I'm just completely messing up the colors and the numbers and everything. So just give me a second, here we go. And starting us off in the top left-hand position, we do have the Brown Terran fighting for DM. It's J1. And yeah, just in case anyone's watching the STPL for the first time, or maybe you've not seen Brood War in a while, these forests here, you see these grey tiles? Essentially what they do is they block vision. So when we see one of the units scout through, you'll see it more clearly, but essentially they reduce the vision of units to 1, which makes it a little bit harder for them to go through. Now Brown is actually a little bit awkward for me to see on my monitor, so we'll see how this goes. If it does get worse, what we'll do is we will turn it to red, but I'm getting used to the new colors, so please forgive me. Everything looked like shit before and now it actually doesn't, so maybe that's why whenever like the blue versus blue matchups came up, because all the blues looked very similar and the contrast was off on my old monitor, it didn't really bother me too much because they didn't look similar. But when I actually looked at the blues in the list on like the first thing I did when I got my new monitor, which is quite bad, is I loaded up Remastered and I loaded up a custom game, and I was looking through the colors to see if they matched up with what I thought they were, and obviously they match up with the color chart now, whereas they didn't before. So when I was like, so the lime green guys, it wasn't lime at all, it was some other color, and I was like, what? And they're like, wait, how have you ever seen a lime that looks like this? And I'm like, on my screen it looks perfectly like a lime color. And I'm like, what? But yeah, in terms of this game, last game we had a relatively quick PvT. We had a really, really interesting game by Kane Yang even. He went with a proxy robo. He kind of won it before then because unfortunately Vulture misplaced his bunker a little bit, couldn't repair it properly. And when you lose your bunker and you lose your first tank, things become infinitely harder for Terran, so I'm saying welcome to the real world. Well, thank you. It's good to be here. Trouble is, now I've got like a mix of the colors, because obviously I've got my old monitor as my second monitor now. So every time I look over at chat, I look at my old colors that my brain is used to, and I turn back on my new monitor, it looks weird again. But having a second monitor certainly does help. I finally don't have to crank my neck down to look at my phone to follow chat in game and stuff. But J1 going for something a little bit cheeky here, going for a double factory. Double Factory is a very, very aggressive build in TVP. It used to be the standard build pretty much. Like, it was the only thing you could do. You couldn't really expand on the oldest of maps, so people would just go for some 2-factory aggression. There's a few different variations. There's the Gundam Rush, which if I remember correctly is 2 tanks, then you go Mass Vulture and a few Marines. There's also the Joyo Rush, which is a lot of Marines and 3 tanks when you push, and you push without siege and then reinforce with Vultures, but most of them end up the same way if the Protoss can defend against them. If the Protoss doesn't expand super quickly, which we are going to have Yuppie doing with the 28 next here, although that isn't super quick, it should be relatively easy for Yuppie to hold. That's why it's kind of fallen out of style, just because it's quite easy to defend if you get enough vultures, if you get enough gateways quick enough, or you're on the right map, or you've got the right positioning. As long as you move out on the map like this Dragoon has. There we go, there's a good example of the vision blocking, by the way. The probe can't really see anything. When you have a air unit over it, it obviously does clear that up a little bit. But the Dragoon is going to be able to gather that there's no expansion, which is super important for the Dragoon to see, as he knows behind this there's either going to be a starport or there's going to be a 2-fact, and regardless, there's the same outcome of that. You essentially go for a lot of units. Now, interestingly, where Yuppie is going for a DT, well, an expand into DTs here, it's going to make it very easy to hold onto this, as long as the I mean, mines and speed are coming in. Looks like he researched speed a little bit quicker. The reason why you do that is because mines is a shorter upgrade, so by doing speed first, you can usually time them out around the same time. Looks like this is going to be the Joyo variation, waiting for 3 tanks here, moving out with 5 Marines, going to push through this vision blocking forest. You can see just how annoying this is, and it makes it very difficult to push through if the opponent's ready for it. But we did have Yuppie fall back. He's going to go immediately back because he knows he has DTs on the way. Now you can see an additional 2 gateways have been added on, and that's obviously going to help a lot. He's going to be able to pump out 3 DTs at a time if he wants to, and that's going to really put the heart on. But if J1 can lay enough mines, if you can get them in the right positions, then he may be able to break through here. But the DTs are going to be the big story, because when you go for a 2-factory rush, you don't often go for an academy. Yeah, there's no academy, so there's no scans available. There's going to be no turrets, and you can already see this first DT makes it impossible to break up the ramp. Oh no! Oh my god, the mine! That was a big mine drag. That killed most of the Marines. It killed one of the Vultures. And I mean, while there's still 2 tanks here, that's a really bad thing to happen to J1. Expanding off of the back of a 2-fact is possible, but if you can't get the kill on the Nexus, you are going to be very far behind. It did kill the DT, which is a bonus, obviously, and it looks like you will be able to get this. Now, the mines have been spaced out pretty well, so only using 2 mines to kill the DT is certainly a good position to be in. Now, one of the best moves you can make here as Protoss is sack a Dragoon, eat all of the mines, and then go in with a second DT. But the Nexus has fallen. That is a big advantage for J1, as J1, all he needs to do is pull back now and go and defend his natural. He knows there's DTs out on the map. He doesn't know if there's a Robo, and if you get DT dropped as Protoss, as Terran even, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. So J1 does have a command center on the way. It's about halfway done. I saw that starting up, but didn't really have reason to show up. Engineering Bay coming in. There's a lot of mines blocking the DTs from being able to move out. Unfortunately, J1 didn't put a mine here, so Yuppie is going to be able to build a Nexus again right away. But essentially, J1 has done the damage he needed to do with that 2-fact, and despite the fact there was the massive mine drag, it did not kill enough of the tanks or do enough damage to them. And this is going to allow J1 the ability to just move out with Vultures constantly and try and find a way to do some damage on the map. So the Vulture's going to move out, going to scout that there is a Nexus again, going to lay some mines on the ramp. This is actually a really cool move you can do. It forces the Dragoons to move back, it forces them to target fire more importantly, and it can give you a way in with the Vultures. But just look at how he's doing this. Vultures take forever to kill buildings, But when you have enough of them, when you have enough mines, look how scared Yuppie is. Yuppie doesn't want to move out of his base because at the moment, all Yuppie knows is there's mines down there. He's a while away from getting an observatory. That should be coming up now, but the observer's still a way off. The big story in this game is going to be this 3DT shuttle. Can he move out on the map and do some damage with it? Is there going to be the right defense back at home? There's already 4 tanks here. There's 1 turret in the main. There are the vultures coming back home, which is good. They didn't manage to kill the Nexus. You can already see.
My goose is getting cooked.
Okay, here comes the thing here. Thank you for the donation of $10. Gosuvigi means a lot, man. But if we have a look here, we've got the DT dropping off. This is one of the frustrating things about playing Terran. Essentially what ends up happening is they fly in, they drop the DT and pick it up. But that's kind of cool. And it's just really frustrating because you try and build stuff to try and deal with the DTs. And luckily enough, we do have scans and we have turrets. So put this game in a different situation. You don't kill the Nexus. You fall back home losing most of your units. Then you have trouble. But luckily enough, he saved all of his tanks. You can see the scan has been completely wasted. Was unable to kill a DT there. 4th gateway on the way. We've got the Citadel done, obviously. The observers are done. And he, oh my god, he did lose a DT there, but he did kill 2 Marines. And just to show how annoying it is, he still can't get any anti-air. He really needs a armory. His armory is actually really late in this game. So, oh my goodness, that would have been bad. Oh, he lost the shuttle. Luckily enough, he saved the DTs. But look at that, the DTs are going to go down immediately to a scan. And where's the armory? Like, does he just not have one? Because if he doesn't, he's actually losing a big advantage here. Yeah, he hasn't built an armory. Now, the problem with this is if you don't get your armory early enough as Terran, your upgrades fall behind. And late game, people think of Terran as this unassailable army, but the only reason why it's unassailable is because you have 3-2 upgrades. But we'll see how J1 plays this out. He does still have the opportunity to go for a timing attack. He obviously did kill the Nexus. He also killed the DTs before they do any damage. And, I mean, Yuppie is doing a pretty good job recovering. He's gone up to 6 gateways, moving into a Stargate, and he's going to be going to Arbiters from here most likely. But Carriers is still a possibility. I think the Arbiters are definitely better on this map, just because the main is so big. But, yeah, Shad, Kane Yang, who we've not seen before, one with the Proxy Reaver. Now, Yuppie going in for a 3rd base. This is the timing that J1 wants to try and abuse. You can see he's repairing all of his tanks, which is always a good thing to see. Definitely one of the things that annoys me about some of the mid-range foreign Terran players. It's difficult. Like, they don't repair. You see them lose units that they could have saved, and it's frustrating. But let's see if this push can do it. Obviously, there is still the possibilities of DTs coming out. High Templar are also a very big possibility here, so pushing into this is very scary. And he also has to contest with the low vision of the trees, so definitely a weird place to push. I mean, look now, he's barely seeing outside of this. Zealot Bomb on the back of the tanks doing a lot of damage with the tanks. Target firing is very, very good. But oh no, here we go, he loses vision. And this is the problem pushing through this forest. Yuppie gets a great engagement, kills all of the tanks. And that's that push held off, and Yuppie, despite being behind, is now in the lead. Yeah, that's definitely not a position J1 wants to be in. Yuppie has been really kicked in this game, but he's come back. He got knocked down, but he got up again. You're never going to keep him down, if anyone knows that song. It's terrible, but I've heard it many, many times. Yeah, that forest, definitely. I've never seen the forest play into it that well, but J1 just didn't push properly. He pushed in such a weird way. He didn't have scan, I don't think, afterwards. Did he have any? He did, he just wasn't scanning. If he'd have scanned and killed those dragoons even, he would have been able to... Yeah, okay, it is a great song. It's very cheesy, though. It is incredibly cheesy. Yeah, sometimes it can be really, really difficult to deal with the forest. Like, obviously I'm a lower level player than both J1 and Yuppie, but I know that whenever I play, there'll be times where I'm like, I really need to scan, and I'll forget I'll forget to have hotkeyed my scanner or something. But there we go, Vulture coming in with a lot of vultures, doing a lot of damage to this probe line. He does even up the worker count a little bit, but his third base is very far behind, and those are units that he's not going to be able to get back. 14 minutes into the game now, and there's still no armory. And no armory means no upgrades, no Goliaths, and it just means Yuppie's, I'm trying to think of the right word. Yuppie's lead, I guess. There's a better word than lead, but I can't remember what it was. Advantage. Yuppie's advantage is slowly dissipating here, because, I mean, look at the number of units that Yuppie has, and let's look at the number of units Vulture has. So if we were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units against many units. I'm not even going to bother trying to count that amount of units. I don't do maths on stream. But yeah, he's pretty much 30 supply ahead in units, as Shad says. And although Terran units are strong, they only get strong when they've got upgrades. I mean, the armory's finally coming in. Is he going to double armory? No, he's not. So, I mean, these upgrades are just too late for Vulture, unfortunately. Imagine now, I think by now he should have 2 on upgrades. Unless I'm being crazy. I know the game started with a 2 factory, but essentially when Terran don't go for your upgrades, he's got a command center here, but he's never going to be able to take this base. There's just absolutely no way. He's going to be up against the Zealot bomb. Zealots can bomb on the high ground here, and there's nothing that he can do about it. Oh, mines in the middle could actually help, but only 2 of them. And not really going to be able to do too much. The Observer catching up as well. And here we go. Here is the moment Yuppie's going to move in and win the game, because Vulture is just losing so many of his own units to mines. And the shuttle comes in on the top. I mean, he does a pretty good job defending this, actually. Wow. He holds on. The tanks on the high ground doing so much. That's definitely something I did not expect. Now, the supply lead is only about 20 in units. He is down about 15 SCVs right now, so... But that's crazy. Yeah, the power of the armory kicked in. The shuttle got killed by the turret, I believe. The 4 zealots did get knocked out, though. Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised, but I mean, this is just round 1 of what the Protoss has. Yuppie still on 3 bases. He has got his Arbiter Tech now. A tank actually moving out into the middle of the map for some reason. Gonna get taken down. The command center is probably going to be forced to lift here. J1 isn't going to be able to properly mine from this base for a while either. And let's see if he can hold on for a second time. He did a pretty good job. The Arbiter moving in range of a turret. Not going to help out too much. But we should have a stasis here. Yeah, the stasis on the high ground tank. The command center is going to go down as well. And J1, despite holding on valiantly before, I mean, he's just taking too much damage. We've got the other main coming in for Yuppie now. He's going to be able to build a load of gateways up here, secure his victory. And unless J1 pulls off a miracle, I don't think he's got a chance here. Now, we can see a couple of vultures moving in. Yuppie moving his Dragoon there at the perfect timing almost. Using the observers really well. Cannon in the mineral line. Going to make it a lot harder for these vultures to do the damage they want to do. And look at the... How did the cannon not hit the vulture there, but here it does? It makes no sense. Diagonals in Brood War make absolutely 0 sense. I mean, killing a few probes here and there, not too bad. But Yuppie is definitely in such a good position. Let's actually check. He's on 1 attack before the Terran is, and that's not a position you want to be in as Terran. I mean, +1 attack at 17 minutes into the game is not even a third of the way done. Like, how do you recover from that? It's crazy. Chat saying the vulture was hidden behind the gas. Yeah, it's just the cannon couldn't shoot past the gas, but the vulture could shoot past it for some reason. But we've got another base coming in here from Yuppie. He's at this point, he could probably build a cannon and just kill it that way. He's probably going to send an observer with some units, but I mean, people do that to me all the time. Just showing how far ahead they are, they just build a cannon to kill a single mine. And I've noticed as the cast has gone on, I've been slowly slouching further and further down, so I'm going to try and get away with this. Now, there is a double tank dropship coming up to the other main. There's no gateways up here, so there's no units here to defend. So if J1's going to make something happen, this is a good way to do it. You go for a double tank drop and you send all of your vultures, you lay all of your mines, and then you try and kill one of the outside bases of the Protoss player. But can this do the damage it needs to? The vulture mines on the high ground doing a very good job. You can see the Dragoons are going to take an absolute age to get up here. Now it looks like some of the probes are going to fall. There is a Dragoon here that did just spawn. But the Dragoon's moving up through the mines. They haven't taken any mine. Oh! Wow, he loses 2 Dragoons to mines there. Very, very uncharacteristic of what we've seen Yuppie so far this game. He's got all of the probes here, but he's not targeting the tanks. So he's not getting the Nexus. So this is a little bit unfortunate. The Dragoon's going to move down the Vultures, chasing down the other probes. J1 is taking a supply lead in workers for the first time this game. But unfortunately, the 2 tanks are going to get cleaned up. The Nexus is still there. And he did build 2 cannons. Oh my goodness. He built 2 cannons to kill a single mine. I love it. He also gets to kill the vultures now as well. Yeah, pretty good move by J1. He has managed to secure his 3rd base by doing that. He's not mining fully off his gas yet, which he definitely needs to do, although he does have a 2k gas bank right now, so maybe doing that is a little bit better. But we are going to have a big recall in the main. Look at all these units. They're about to come in. Are they coming in? Are they coming in? Are they coming in? Wait, he recalled a different set of units. He tricked me. That's not fair. Oh man. That's actually annoying. But yeah, there we go. I didn't get the cool move of seeing like the units recalling in, but it's all good. The recall coming in just as J1 starts to feel a bit safe. The armory goes down. Luckily enough, +1 attack did finish, but it is the only armory for now. It's still kind of weird that he didn't recall this clump of units. I don't have a clue where the other clump was, but it's all good. He's going to get a load of these supply depots. J1 is going to find himself supply capped at 94 supply. And I don't want to tell you how hard this is to deal with. You have to use all that extra APM to try and build your depots, and you got to find somewhere to build them. And you still can't clear the units out of your main. So realistically, oh my god, that mine. It looked like the mine killed the gas. I know it didn't, but damn, that's kind of funny. Now all the units in the main have been cleaned up for now. There's no additional... Wait, is that another... Oh, now I'm going to get the recall. Watch this. If he doesn't recall these units, I give up. There we go. I got it, but the tank shots, wow. Oh my goodness. All that blue goo. But there we go. J1 taps out. He's lost all of his tanks in his main. He's down to like 80 supply, and there's nothing he can do. And yeah, that was certainly a recall, but it worked out regardless. So that was a pretty good game too. Obviously, we did see J1 with the win. We saw Yuppie with the win there, so White Clan are up 2-0, but that was a pretty good set of recalls to finish off that game. And Yuppie, let's not forget, he did go from, he went from having, or going up against a 2-fact to essentially recovering and winning the game. So that was a really, really sick game by Yuppie. That's going to take us into a ZVP next. It's going to be on New Arkanoid, and it's going to be Pre versus Fairy. And it's coming up after this break. See you guys very soon. Oh my... Ah, Radley. You just keep giving. This game is the gift that keeps on giving. Mass Wraiths, Ghosts, another Observer gets sniped. And you know what happens when you don't have any Observers? You get nuked. Right? You get nuked. And there's going to be a nuke on the army. Let's actually zoom out. Oh, Horitos doesn't know. Oh, no. Oh! So many units going down. Zealots showing how overpowered they are. Standing in a nuke. They don't care. Oh. There we go, the nuke coming out the silo. I got it that time. Oh no, adding another cannon here. This cannon's gonna go down. You can see the red drop, or the red dot even. Needs to be careful with the wraiths, so... Horitos! Horitos! Kaboom! And the... What's the ghost? No! Not like this! Oh, I caught it. Another nuke goes down on the army, and Horitos. Okay guys, welcome back. We're here for game number 3 between White Clan and DM. White Clan are currently up 2-0. I can feel my voice getting more nasally by the second. That always happens. Yeah, I don't know what my voice actually sounds like though, so do I sound like exceptionally nasally all the time? Because there's this weird thing that happens where I seem to get more congested the longer I cast, and I don't know if it's the way I'm casting or what, but it just feels so weird. But anyway, let's have a look at our third map. It's going to be Neo Arkanoid. Neo Arkanoid, a pretty fun map, a very even map as well in terms of statistics so far, this STPL, which is kind of crazy. Duck Action Fist says, you sound like a very British person with a golden deep voice. Thank you very much. But it definitely sounds strange to me. But Neo Arkanoid, very, very fun. It is going to be a CVP this time. So we've had 2 TVPs. Now it's Zerg's time to try and take out the Protoss, because we've had 2 Protoss wins so far today. But it's going to be a really cool matchup, I think. Fairy versus Pre. Let's introduce our players, then we can go from there. So having a look at the player history screen. Starting us off for DM, we have the Chilean Pre. Pre has got a 44% win rate overall. One of the stronger performing Protoss players for DM. Has done pretty well so far for himself. He's had some really interesting games. Like that game he had. It's not on there at the moment. Apparently I do sound nasally all the time. So maybe that is just my accent. I don't know. Maybe I just talk funny. Oh well. I'll figure it out. But either way. His game isn't on here, but he played as a PvZ on Holy World, so it would have been before March, and essentially it was one of the craziest games ever. And yeah, he had a really good game against Oya on Desperado last week, so well, it wasn't last week, it was like 2 weeks ago I think now, but either way, strong player for DM. Let's have a look at his opponent. Looks like I need to hide the cursor on this, but essentially Fairy is an ex-Height Sparkies pro, so he is a strong player historically. He's done pretty well for himself in STPL. He's got a 57% win rate overall. He's 2-for-1 against Protoss. His last CVP though was a loss. He lost to Dragon, so Dragon's certainly showing his full strength in that game. His only game on Neo, or his only couple of games on Neo Arkanoid so far haven't been CVPs. So we'll have to see how he does on this map. So let's get in to game number 3 on Neo Arkanoid. It's Pre versus Fairy.
Easily amused, huh?
Thank you, Proletariat Green, for the sub, man. Means a lot. Starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have the red Protoss fighting for DM. It's Pre. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand position in the blue from South Korea. It's Fairy fighting for White Clan. So this is going to be a ZVP. We've seen on this map before that while it looks like everything should go normally and that you shouldn't be able to push through. Now, wait. Okay, looking at these temples on my new monitor is strange. They do not look like this on my old one. They're a much different color. Well, that's kind of cool. They're like browny gray. I didn't know that. I thought they were like yellow. But either way, so the temples, there are 1500 health temples and 800 health generators, which stop you moving around the middle of the map. And to stop you from getting to the side bases, there are these really high health temples, which make things very difficult. I know you can do, as Pre has done, essentially move out in the middle of the map by glitching a probe through. Now, interestingly, he didn't cancel that pylon. He's going to be using it as his first one. So it's going to be a while before he builds any other buildings, because that is not in a good place to essentially clear things up. Now, the other problem is he's going to glitch into the other main, hoping that he finds his opponent, and he's not going to be able to. Now, one of the cheeky things you can do on this map is a lot of players will play incredibly greedy. You can see that Fairy, because he's Chrysalis, he's going to opt to build his or his hatchery by the gas, but he went for a hatchery first. And he's only just now started his spawning pool, so it was a 9... Wait, is that 9 hatch 10 pool? Which is kind of crazy, but essentially you can play very, very aggressive on this map if you want to. Now, oh my god, Fairy's going to hide in... Fairy's going to hide in... sorry, Pre is going to hide in Nexus. Look at that. What a cheeky move. Usually you would see people go out to proxy an attacking building. But proxying a Nexus... Now, the problem with this is he's not going to be able to take any probes through his main over, so it's going to be a long time for that base to become properly usable, essentially. To get there, Albert, what you can do is, you know the tips video I made for Neo Outlier, where you can jump over the minerals? You can jump over buildings as well in the same way, so you can glitch through the temples. You can do it with, the only one you can't do it with is drones, but Terran can do it with building supply depots. Essentially, if you build a building and then your SCV's on top of the building, you can glitch it through anything, but you can't do it by mining anything, obviously, because there's nothing to mine. But in terms of what Fairy's doing, he's got a third hatchery coming in at the front. It's not that difficult to do with probes. It's surprisingly easy. Or if we're doing the Sieve Gaming thing, if anyone watches Mario Maker on YouTube, it's surprisingly... I can't do his voice. But surprisingly simple. Because essentially, you build the pylon on top of the probe, and the probe essentially glitches out in the same way. Proletariat Green saying you can use drones if you have Burrow. I mean, it'd be cool if we saw Burrow like that, but Fairy once again going to be expanding off-center, because at the end of the day as Zerg, you can just kill these later. You only really need the minerals to start with to begin with, and you'll be able to add your 5th and 6th hatcheries on. So we're up to 4 hatcheries already for Fairy, so he is playing super macro-orientated right now. He's only built 2 lings for the course of the entire game. Now, interestingly, because he found his opponent first, this base isn't going to be scouted for a very long time. Now, the reason for that is essentially when you know where your opponent is, you don't need to send any overlords down here, so you're just not going to. So both of his overlords have gone up towards his opponent's base. He's scouted. He should know, based on what he's seen, that it is going to be a hidden base somewhere, but he's got no way of testing where it is without checking every other location on the map, and overlords, before you get speed, are incredibly slow. And yeah, Proletariat Green points out on Destination you can glitch lurkers behind the mineral patch that goes into the main on Destination, and Heartbreak Ridge as well, which is kind of cool. I might make a little tips video on that, because I don't think a lot of people would know that. It's one of those weird like little map things you can do that not many people pay attention to. It's funny, because if you never really saw Pro League, you would have never seen anyone do that kind of thing. Obviously, if you watch STPL, people do it here sometimes, but if you're like just a player who plays Brood War, and you never watch the pro scene or anything, a lot of little tips and tricks will kind of completely bypass you. It's like a lot of the maps that I put in STPL, when I first put them in, a lot of people have probably never seen them before, even though they're on Pro League for like 2 seasons, or like 2 OSLs or something. If you weren't actively watching back then you probably wouldn't know what they are. That's why whenever I first put the maps in, I always try and do like little show matches and stuff, and I try and go through as much of the map as I can. But yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that Heinz saying that that's why he likes watching STPL. I'm kind of glad of that, because The other maps, the little tips and tricks, that it's a weird reason to like Brood War, but those are the reasons why I like Brood War. I like all the weird little tips, all the weird little maps that lead to interesting games. You see, I mean, in the STPL, we've seen pretty much strategies you would see nowhere else, and that's because of the best of one format. At the end of the day, when you're a best of one, you could be against someone who's better than you. The best thing to do is prepare super hard, and you come out with this crazy build, like Radley coming out with all of his ghost builds and whatnot. No one is going to be ready for that. Who is going to practice against mass nuke in TVP? Nobody. Unless they're against Radley now. Like, you come out with that kind of crazy build, and people aren't going to know how to deal with it. It's not even necessarily cheese. It's just like little things you can do in the late game that you just wouldn't do anywhere else. Like, one thing that I haven't seen in the STPL yet, but I see on ladder whenever I play every once in a while. Well, not whenever I play, but like once every couple of years, someone will go carriers and arbiters and they'll recall the carriers around the map just to make it impossible to chase them. That very, very rarely happens, but when it does, it's the most frustrating thing in the world to deal with. And if we see that in the STPL, I will be incredibly happy, because I don't think anyone realizes just how good that is, because no one ever does it. I mean, there's usually a reason going into Arbiter Tech after carriers is super expensive, but it's really good. Like, not only that, but having cloak over the carriers just makes it impossible to deal with. Oh my goodness. I'm sure if they're a better Terran than me, they have more luck doing it, but double Stargate, of course, coming in from Pre. He's been doing a pretty good job with his Corsairs so far. He's got triple Forge on... Wait. Yeah, triple Forge on 2 base. Proletariat Green saying, "Shut up, don't give the Protoss any ideas." Oh my goodness. They already have the ideas. It's born into their blood. They have literally got like a little switch that triggers when they play against Terran. And there's a bit in a recent movie that I don't want to spoil just in case people haven't seen it. But go back to like Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine says like, "I am the Senate." Essentially, whenever Protoss players play, all of the awful cheese builds that all the other Protoss players do get telepathically communicated to them by the color. And that's how they all know how to do these crazy cheeses and kill you all the time. That's how it does. Well, it doesn't make any sense. That's how we do it. Now, something is attacking something, and I've got no idea what it is. Wait. What is attacking? I don't understand. Okay, that's a cannon. I know that. Oh, it's the Dragoon killing this. What the hell? Why could I hear that down in the bottom right? Sound is really weird in this game. I guess you can kind of hear everything, maybe. But there we go. The Dragoon has cleared up the Chrysalis. Now, the funny thing is, where Pre has taken his second base, he's essentially trapped Fairy in. And if Pre decides to build gateways down here, if he decides to build bases down here, where is Fairy going to get a 4th base? He's not going to be able to. Now, there is going to be a 4th base coming up here, most likely for Fairy. Pre even. But, oh no, he's actually going to double expand, so he's going to take a 4th and a 5th at the same time. Now, he is incredibly lucky that Fairy hasn't just built a ton of units and gone and killed him, because in terms of actual fighting units that can attack the ground, we have 6 Zealots, 1 Dragoon, 1 High Templar, and 2 Reavers. This has been the ultimate greed play by Pre, and he did this as well on Holy World. If you saw his game on Holy World in Season 1, essentially the way that map works, if you secure your natural, you secure another 2 back bases. One has got a gas and one is a very small mineral only. And he essentially built like 20 cannons at his front. He built a ton of Reavers. And they did actually play this map in StarCraft 2 as well for a season. This was one of the maps they brought back for the StarCraft 2 Pro League. But it didn't look nearly as cool because rather than temples, it was just rocks. Just rocks everywhere. It was so boring. And it didn't work out very well in StarCraft 2, obviously. There's not many maps do. One of the reasons, like, I don't hate StarCraft 2 as a game. I'm not elitist. StarCraft 2 is a great game in its own right. But the reason why I fell out of it, and if the STPL is any way, shape or form a way of making this obvious, is I didn't like the way the map design worked in StarCraft 2. Essentially, due to the game design, the maps have to be a certain way. Like, realistically, they need to be two-player. That seems to be how it's all worked out in the end, and I understand why. It's not a problem. For the people who enjoy that, it's great, because a lot of the maps are similar. You don't have to worry about too much. You always know what you're getting into when you're going into a map. But I've noticed the maps are getting a little bit more diverse. Like, there's maps with, I think they called it the Purification Zone. I was watching WCS last year, and that was kind of cool. It was like a slowdown area. It didn't really seem to affect things too much, but it was still cool. It was an interesting new map mechanic. Kind of reminded me of like neutral disruption webs in Brood War, which we're getting a massive map filled with them in Inner Coven, which is really, really cool. I'm looking forward to getting to play on that map a little bit and seeing some pro games in it as well. And Shad, essentially they need to be two-player because where the games are so much quicker, if you essentially don't find your opponent right away, if you don't scout right away, you lose really quickly, because unlike in Brood War, where even if you're at a disadvantage, you can still win, you kind of have to have perfect knowledge in StarCraft 2. And there's so many more ways of getting better knowledge. Now, Fairy is moving a lot of units through. Now, there is a lot of high tempo, a lot of gateway units starting to filter up here. And I mean, just look how long it takes to kill these temples. I think they have neutral armor as well. But yeah, it's essentially balance reasons. Now, for whatever reason, Pre wants to break out. The Reavers down here cannot get to the top level. Oh my god, Storm on his own High Templar. Wait, is there there's no Observer up here. Oh no. The High Templar out of Storm. There's a ton of Zerg units flooding in up here. This could be a massive amount of damage coming in. Looks like we finally... Wait. It looks like there is an Observer. Oh, there is an Observer now. There's two of them. They have managed to come up. That was a Whiff Storm, unfortunately. Looks like Fairy wants to expand to the bottom left. He's going to find a wall of cannons, and he is going to be so confused. Why on earth would there be a Protoss base in the bottom left? He's never sent an Overlord down there either. Look at the vision of Fairy. He does not know anything about the bottom left. We've got 70 probes for Pre. 110 of his supply is like attacking units, and he's only got 70 supply worth. Well, he's got 70 supply worth of workers. Now, that's over 5 bases now. We've got a lot of lings coming down to the bottom left. Wait, is there no gateway? Yeah, there's no gateway down here. So if these lings can break through, does he have Hive? Oh my god, the Zealot's just running straight into the main? What on earth? How did they run past everything? Look at these guys getting the Spire. What a cool situation. Like, all of the lings have been pulled away from those temples as well to come and deal with this. This is going to give Pre a chance at defending this bottom left, but still, there's not enough cannons. There's no wall here. If he builds a gateway, he can semi-wall this off for a little bit. Looks like he's going to do that. He's going to do it with a forge, interestingly. I guess it builds a little bit quicker. But a lot of units from Pre going to be coming down here. We've got more Zealots charging down. He's killing a ton of drones. It's 70 probes to 34 drones right now. What are we watching? What a crazy game. And oh my god, the Hydras can't get through. Pre is doing it. The Corsair's in position to intercept any Overlords. Unfortunately, there is a ton of Lurkers outside of this base. The Reavers walking back home. Not a position they want to be in. More and more units coming down. Plague has affected these. But let's look at the storms. 1 storm, 2 storms, 3 storms. Nicely placed. Going to do a lot of damage. But Pre does need to be careful. He's up mega workers right now. And he's in a good position. But he still needs to play it safe. Look how many cannons there are from Pre. Imagine if there was a single swarm. How many minerals is this? A cannon's 150 minerals, right? I'm not being crazy, or is it 200? I think it's 150 though. Same as a gateway. So there's 300, 600, 900, 1200, 1450 minerals, 1350 minerals even, in cannons. Now 1500, yeah. That's crazy. That is so many minerals worth of cannons, and there's still no gateways down here, so there's no units, there's no way of getting units down here to protect it. Now it looks like the lurkers out the front have been either pulled back or killed, so... but, oh my god, there's the swarm. Oh my god, I feel bad for Pre. All of that and a single... Wait, if he target fires properly, he can kill these lurkers. He's target firing. Look at that. Why are the lurkers not under the swarm? That's kind of annoying. Now, we've got Protoss with a massive army coming in the front of the Zerg base. He's up 100 supply over his Zerg opponent right now. He's essentially mining out the bottom left-hand corner as well. So even if Fairy takes it, he's going to have less money. Now the Reaver's coming in at the front, going to be helping out with the Lings, soaking up a lot of the Scarabs. You can see the Hydralisks running straight into those Reavers. They know this is the real powerful enemy for this Protoss army. They are going to be able to siege down the Lurkers. And if they get all of these Lurkers, that's a ton of money. And it looks like somehow Fairy has been... Well, Fairy's been able to break through the cannons. Oh my god. Pre is amazing. Just walling off again with cannons. This is amazing. I love it. Okay, well the Reaver's doing so much damage at the front. Fairy is really struggling. And it looks like Pre may have got the upset here, I'd like to call this. Now obviously Pre has mined out of his main essentially. But where he expanded to the bottom left first, he's actually got a lot of money left. It's very rare you would see a Protoss with more money left in his bases than Zerg. But that's what's happened. This main is nearly mined out as well, so even if Fairy expands down there, what's he going to do? Hoover up half a base? Now the Corsairs are going down. Nice Plague on the units. Plague is obviously an incredibly strong tool for our Zerg opponent. Our Zerg contender here. Plague Darkon, not something you see every day, but it actually gives it 350 health immediately. So that's how it's obviously shields, but this is going to come out. Should be able to run away from these Hydras. He does have 333 upgrades as well, by the way, guys, in case you hadn't been paying attention. It's 333 against 32 at 18 minutes in the game. Pre went triple forge on 2 base. Literally, he was on 2 base, he went triple forge, so that's wonderful. Now, we've got a storm drop. It looks like Pre has been... Oh my god. Fairy's units are on move command, so they're not attacking the shuttle. They're trying to get out into the middle of the map. Oh my goodness. When is he going to realize? Oh, there we go. He kills it. Cast a curse. But yeah, looks like we are going to have another couple of storms coming in. He does have Kadarian Amulet as well. This Nexus, despite the fact it got broken into, is still alive. And he's been mining the gas this whole time, so... Pre is definitely in a good spot this game. Fairy is starting to run out of money, run out of steam. He's 100 supply down. He's very low on money. Pretty much every single bit of money he spent, or he gets, he's spending. And that's because he wants to try and break through. But Pre is getting another base up in the top left. He's got this base here. He's got 2 Reavers here and 2 DTs. The hit squad, the assassin squad, to essentially say, you're never killing this base regardless of what you want to do. And Pre is just constantly putting pressure on the front, and it's becoming really difficult. That's a good Plague, though. Plague on red units, not the best thing to look at, of course, but still pretty cool. And if you notice, when I do Shift Tab, there's a problem. So Shift Tab, I mean, it's black versus green, which is amazing colors, but the buildings don't appear. I've never actually... I need to mention this to Blizzard, because I don't think anyone else has. Now, there is... big Archon drop in the 3rd base of Fairy. Oh my goodness. Units coming in the front. Archon drop at the 3rd. I thought there was another drop coming in, but it wasn't. The Archons are going to clean up every single unit up here. And Pre is picking Fairy apart. Obviously, a lot of this does come down to the fact he got away with a hidden expansion. But he played it very well. Triple Forge, definitely a good decision. And later game, it became it pretty much became impossible for Fairy to be able to deal with it. Now that is going to make the series 2-1 in favor of White Clan, but it means that game 4 is going to mean everything here, because if Kyrie can take the game over Bai, it means we'll be heading into an ace match, and that is certainly not something people would think when they saw DM versus Bai. DM versus White even. So we'll be back in a few minutes with game number 4. I completely forgot how to count to whatever number we're counting up to now. 5, I guess. See you guys soon.
Outstanding. Rock and roll.
Okay, we have a ton of Matrino codes still to use, so I'm making this quick video to show you how easy it is to actually use them. So you click the Matrino link, it brings up the Matrino page. In the top right, you hit sign in. You sign in with whatever you want to. In this case, I'm going to sign in with Twitch. That'll take you back to the page, and then if you hit contribute, you put in the coupon code LSTPL. You can put a comment if you want to, and you can hit contribute right there, and it'll add it to the prize pool. Easy as pie. STPL does. Bio TVP. Wow! You got it. STPL does. Mass Scouts? No problem. Broadcast 3 nights a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2100 CEST. Fantastic casting, fantastic production, fantastic prizes. Only here on the STPL. Did you know Reavers could be this radical? How did these lings even get here? All I know is that's one dead base. STPL does. Wraiths, Valkyries, Carriers, and Corsairs. Forget about it. You won't see that anywhere else. STPL does. STPL does. STPL does. STPL does. STPL does. DT's doing game-ending damage? Name a more iconic duo. We've even got carriers in PvZ. How amazing! A global team league on the scale you've never seen before. Don't see this in BWCL, STPL does. All that and more. Only on this amazing 64-bit STPL. What BWCL don't. Impressed? I know I am. Why not support us on the link below? Patreon.com/kicks. But act fast. It's a limited offer.
Coast 103.5.
Here we are. Hello guys, welcome back. We're here for game number 4 of White Clan versus DM. To answer a couple of questions from chat. Shad, I didn't cast it yesterday, I'm casting it tomorrow at 1500 CET. I'm going to be casting with Rapid for the first time in ages, which is cool. Jira #1 fan, Brood War isn't 64 bits, essentially it's a parody. The video is a parody of the Sega Does What Nintendo Don't commercial from the US from the 90s, and they're going on about 16-bit graphics because obviously the Mega Drive was 16-bit, so that's where that came from. Zasagi, I think it may be on YouTube if you actually really do want to watch it, but let's introduce our next map. We're going to be going into the 4th map here. This is 2-1 in favor of White Clan at the moment, but if Kyrie can win here, we are going to be going into an ace match, so we're going to be heading on to Carthage 3. This is actually the third TVT in a row, I think, on this map, which is kind of crazy. I mean, PVT and ZVP on this map are dead balanced. Albert, the Korean stuff hasn't been casted yet, so that's why you can't watch it anywhere. That'll be why you didn't hear. But in terms of TVT, we've had some really cool matchups. Scan versus Chef Kev was actually really interesting. It was like a 40-minute game, and I thought Chef Kev was going to get bodied, so anything can happen. It's a best of one. Introducing our first player here. It's going to be Kyrie for DM. Kyrie's actually a Korean American living in the USA at the moment. I believe so anyway, unless I've been completely fed a lie by somebody at some point. It is going to be a TVT, of course. Kyrie is 4 for 3. Okay, I said that Kyrie's last load of games were versus Terran, but he did actually play 2 PvPs, so I just completely forgot them. But I can remember his TVTs. He played a lot of TVT on Blitz X in a row, pretty much. I think that's why he stopped doing Blitz X, because when you look at his game, when you look at his games, he's been playing a lot of Carthage 3 and a lot of Blitz X, so I think Kyrie just likes 2-player maps a lot. The only 4-player map he actually played was New Tornado. That was an ace match against a Volt, and he played New Tornado against Red as well, and I believe that wouldn't have been an ace match, I don't think, but that was at the start of the season. So either way, pretty good stats from him. His opponent for White Clan is going to be Bai. Bai is rank 15 in the entire STPL, a very, very strong player. He's got an 80% win rate overall. He's 3 for 3 against Terran. Now, when he first joined the STPL, he had a ridiculous win streak. Let's actually double check, see if he's still in the top 10. No, so he actually fell off the top 10 because the streaks got better and better. But essentially he won his first 9 games or something. But now there's people with 10 streaks. It's not used Fancy or Fancy 2 yet, but Fancy 2 may appear at some point because I did use it in the Clash for Char, which was my tournament I did before this. And it was quite popular, so it's also a fun map to watch. There's also the newer version that didn't make it into ASL. I think it was called Elysium, which was quite fun to play on. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But Season 3 obviously going to be coming up fairly soon after Season 2. And there's also other events I'm going to be doing as well. So Bai, obviously a very strong Terran player, should be good. Let's talk about this more as we get into game number 4. It's Bai versus Kyrie on Carthage 3. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the Red Terran fighting from South Korea for White Clan. It's Bai. And his opponent looking to say goodbye to his opponent here in the blue, fighting from the US of A. It's Kyrie fighting for DM. Now, I noticed that the viewers dropped by 15 when the TVT appeared on the screen, but guys, I promise you, TVT is a really fun matchup. You guys just haven't seen the right TVTs. I promise you, by the end of the STPL Season 2, I mean, I can't obviously tell if there's going to be another TVT, but the TVTs we've had have been so good, and honestly, people need to give it more of a chance. Obviously, the early game is a little bit slower, and that's part of the reason why in StarCraft 2 they decided to make you start with, is it 10 workers or 12 workers or something, to kind of speed up the initial bit. But the good thing is it gives me time to talk about how good TVT is, because TVT, without a doubt, for the longest time, sorry, I'm losing my voice, has been my favorite matchup And genuinely, there is a good reason behind it. TBT, every single square on the map matters. In any... Okay, just while nothing's going on, they're both building a barracks. Don't need to talk about that too much. Let's zoom out, right? So we're looking here at Carthage 3. In its wonder, we can see the whole map. Because essentially, it's a very narrow map, as you can see by the minimap as well. You've got the, like, white outlines. If we scroll up, let's have a look at somewhere like this. So you're looking at this spot and you're thinking, well, nothing's ever going to go there. Right? Nothing will ever go there. In TBT, this is a pivotal position for you to hold. This single little square of unbuildable terrain is a perfect spot for a tank. And the reason is because if you get a tank here and you're attacking, you scan, you can hit the command center, or you may be able to hit the gas even. And gas in TBT is essentially the most important resource. Like, if we were looking at it as food and water, in TBT you can live without food for around 3 weeks. So you can live without minerals for about 3 weeks. But gas, if you don't have gas, that's it. You've got a few days at most. You need that gas to live. And it's very, very important. Now, there is the 3 neutral temples in the middle as well. In TBT, that kind of doesn't matter too much. But it does give you an interesting place to lay a tank line. But TBT, once again, really, really cool. We've got both players going from barracks expand into a gas. Yeah, the glasses don't fit on Lottie, unfortunately. There's some really good modified emotes that I have on Nyoken. Nyoken's emotes work really well with those modified ones. The sunglasses fit perfectly on one of them. The Santa hat fit perfectly on Lottie, though. Oh, Landon has got it. Nice. Yeah, the sunglasses really do fit. It's really good. Oh, squished STPL does. Okay, that's a new one. I've not seen that before. But yeah, the Santa hat fit on Lottie perfectly, which was great. It looks like you're kind of stroking Lottie in that, but yeah, we're still kind of at the early stage. Both players are doing exactly the same thing, so essentially every bit of land, every bit of terrain, every little cliff matters in TBT. And not only that, but you have floating buildings as scouts. Vision is by far the most important. Aside from gas, vision is so important in TBT compared to any other matchup. Like ZVZ, vision isn't really something you can get because essentially ZVZ, Overlords get killed by Mutalisks. In PvP, you can't just leave observers on the map because essentially you're going to build like 1 or 2 observers, then build Reavers, most likely in PvP. In TBT, you can have mines absolutely everywhere. You can have scans everywhere. Like, one of the games that I would recommend you go back and watch after the STPL is done today if you've got time. I'll link it at the end of the stream. But essentially, there was a game between Flash and Firebat Hero on Neo Moonglaive. And it was genuinely one of the craziest games I've ever seen. They fought, they split the map entirely. It wasn't Neo Moonglaive, sorry, it was Moonglaive. Because there was mineral-only bases which got removed with the Neo version. But essentially, every single base mattered. And after a period of time, both of them had so many command centers. Just, even if you close your eyes and just listen to it, the amount of scans going off is ridiculous. Now, to talk about this TBT, just quickly to answer Albert's question, Kyrie's 4-3 over Terran on this season, so that's not too bad. We got double Starport coming in for buy. He's going to be relying a lot on rates. Meanwhile, we've got a single Starport coming in from Kyrie, and he's going to go into dropships, which is kind of good. Mania DE, what is casted here is currently the Shinhan Tank Pro League. It is the it's the biggest global StarCraft Remastered team league in the entire world because obviously in terms of prize pools there's bigger in Korea, but they don't have foreign players in, whereas STPL has a mix of everyone. And as of tomorrow, we're also going to be casting the Caster Muse Star League here. Luckily enough, Caster Muse, who I've got to become quite close friends with, he's going to be casting the STPL in Korean as of the playoffs. He asked the Afrika admins because they sponsor the tournament, and they were kind enough to allow us to cast it on Twitch. So we're going to get some Korean StarCraft content as well as your usual dose of STPL 3 times a week, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, I can't do this a full-time thing, because if I did, I'd probably cast every single day of the week, but I do usually have a full-time job as well. I'm an IT support technician at the moment, so slowly working my way up, slowly seeing if I can make enough money to make this my job, because that would be so much better, as I love tournament organizing and streaming and everything. But unfortunately, I'm streaming Brood War. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because I don't hold it against anyone here, but most people who watch Brood War these days are like in their late 20s, early 30s. Most of them have their rent to pay and stuff like that, and the other major thing and the other major difference is in a lot of the newer esport games as such, like Fortnite, a lot of the newer players expect that they have to pay content creators to do stuff. Whereas in Brood War, people have been making content for so long, completely free. And people expect that, and I find that fine. I don't mind. For the longest time, I couldn't support anyone at all because I didn't make enough money. So I'm certainly not calling anyone out, but that was a nice engagement there by Kyrie. He took a really big disadvantage with Wraiths and actually turned it around. So that's kind of cool. But if you guys can help out monetarily, please help out the content creators, including myself, of course, because we do work really hard to try and bring you guys content. And while I don't expect anyone to pay, I mean, it does help. But the other thing you can do is keep watching. Watching a lot really does help. But yeah, it really does help if you can watch, if you talk about it as well. If you use Twitter, follow the STPL TV Twitter account. Retweet the stuff, post clips on Reddit and stuff like that as well. And every little bit helps every single tournament. Do it for VATU, do it for BSL, and do it for all the tournaments. Trying to think of the other ones. EGM Fight Night, Caster Muse Star League, because obviously outside of Korea, that's not going to get a massive amount of like traffic as such. And if you don't go on Team Liquid, you probably wouldn't even know what that is. So hopefully by me casting it, it's going to give the English audience something to watch as well. Because the players in Caster Muse Star League are really good. Like, you've got some of the best players in the world right now. Snow is going to be played. Snow has played in the round of 24. Zero has played. Action has played. I can't remember if Rain is in it. I think if he is, he's got seeded. But there's some really, really good players in the Caster Muse Star League. But yeah, as Black Obsidian says, Brood War watchers are still in the Web 1.0 mindset of everything being free. Which, I get. I'm in that mindset as well. I'm not going to I'm not going to say I'm any better. Like, a lot of the time, and I hate to say this, like, if I go on your website and your website tells me, please disable ad block, and it won't work without ad block, then I'm just going to leave your website. But that's not because I don't like the, oh, thank you for the sub, Tangard. It means a lot, man. 3 months. Thank you. But yeah, in terms of like ad block, it's usually because ads are like super obnoxious. And if I really do want to support the website, I will disable ad block on it. But if it's a website I've never been to before, and I just want to look something up, and they're like, no, you need to disable ad block to read this, I'm like, nah, I'm out of here. Now, I realize I'm kind of not talking about the game again, and I know this is a big thing that I keep doing, but it's kind of quieting down a little bit. Both players up to 3 bases. Looks like Bai is getting ready to take his 4th as well. We've slowly got Kyrie moving through the middle of the map. Now, this is actually the biggest thing that's happened so far, as well as the movement we saw from Bai before, because essentially, if Kyrie was able to go up and secure this area here, this would block this ramp, and it would block Bai away from 2 bases. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do it. Now, This is one of the other reasons why TVT is my favorite matchup. This is 5 tanks. Kyrie knows about them. He scanned them. He sees them. But it takes a lot to actually commit into this. So it's going to make it hard for Kyrie to take a 4th base. He's going to trade very inefficiently to push forward. They are both on 1-0 upgrades, so that's something. But just a few units can cause a lot of hassle for another player. So you can see that he's pushing forward, sieging his tanks quite far back. More tanks are coming in on the high ground. He's securing this high ground pod. Now, to go back to the point I made before about different positions on the map making a huge difference, if Kyrie had some tanks here, they would be able to see this tank and kill it. The other thing is, Bai is being very offensive as well by taking this high ground. This essentially cuts Kyrie away from this base and this base. I mean, this base he's likely never going to take, but it's going to cut him away from this. Now, the option that Kyrie has, and it looks like this is what he's going to go for, is he's going to go and try and take the position on the other side that his opponent has. And that's a very good choice, because Bai is trying to expand to this location. He knows that he has a better position on the map, so he's just trying to hoover up all the bases while he can. Because essentially you want to build as many command centers as possible. You have a ton of minerals, and you want to just leave little pockets of units. Now, there's a ton of Valkyries here. Now, unlike in many other matchups, Valkyries are king in TVT, and this is why. Watch this. Look how quickly the Wraiths are going to melt. It's ridiculous how good Wraiths of Valkyries are against Wraiths. Now, if the Wraiths can get on top of the Valkyries first, if they get a shot off before a scan goes down, they can kill them, but they didn't manage to do it there. You can see the 4 tanks of Bai have given him enough time to defend this location, and it means Kyrie isn't going to be able to take out the space, at least not with a much bigger commitment than what he has. Now, he has cleared these, but the tank on the high ground going to make it very difficult to push up. A single Goliath able to move up here into the base. A single tank moving on up, going to go down. All the Wraiths coming in. This could be big. Look how quickly the Valkyries die. 2 of them go down. All 3 of them go down. That is a ton of gas that Kyrie is not going to be able to get back again. And obviously with him getting knocked out and locked out of all the bases, it's going to be very difficult. And I mean, Kyrie's just losing too much supply here. Every single time he tries to move forward, he's just getting rebutted immediately. And you can see he's trying to build 3 tanks at a time here, but he's mixing them in with vultures because he doesn't have enough gases. And without enough gases, you can't win in TVT. Look at this. Bai's taken this base. The first thing he does is build the gas. Because realistically, and he's done it here as well, the gas is all you want from these bases. You don't need the minerals anymore. You still have 3 bases mining minerals. That's plenty. I mean, look at Bai's factory production. He's building 3 tanks at a time. He's going into 4 additional factories, 5 additional factories. And he's going to be getting +2 attack. That must have just finished. Yeah, so it's +2 attack against +2. But +2 attack, in case you don't know in TVT, means tanks 2-shot other tanks. So you can't push forward anymore. I mean, you can, but the amount you need to be able to push forward is so much higher than what you need to defend. It really isn't worth doing it. And you can see in this location here, this is all Kyrie has left. And unfortunately, it's just unable to break through. And I think this should be checkmate. Like, Kyrie is going to find it so difficult. He's lost so many units. And Bai is going to come in with a killing blow. This is essentially the Rook moving in against the King to make it, or to check Kyrie. And as soon as he gets this location here, it's going to be checkmate. Look at the defensive position we have over here. So many turrets, so many tanks. The same can be said over here as well. And Kyrie is unable to take this high ground again. The SCV is going to go down immediately. That is so unfortunate. But Kyrie has just been outplayed in this game. Very well done. And I mean, I like to say that Kyrie did a good job here, but Bai just played that a little bit better. He always had the better positioning. I mean, we've got a lot of dropships finally in here. We could have seen these a lot earlier. But it's going to be near impossible for Kyrie to bring this around. And look, he just loses 2 tanks in the dropship as well. It's so unfortunate, but that's what happens in TVT. There's not much you can do about it. And I mean, he is going to be able to hold on to his natural choke for a little bit, because 2 tanks can do an incredible amount of damage. But I mean, when you can't expand again, we're going to have a big desperation drop coming in here over on the 3 o'clock base. But the dropships are going to go down to this this turret, and there's 5 tanks here already to come and defend. We're going to have a counter drop in the main as well. Tanks are going to be coming in from both sides. You can already see a lot of the rally points moving the units into tank fire, not where you want to be. And that's checkmate. GG. Kyrie checks out. Well, he does. He checks out of the game. He taps out, and White Clan take the series 3-1. So, that was certainly a well-played game by Bai there. You can see why he was so good when he first joined the STPL. Obviously, that's a disappointing game for Kyrie. He's not going to feel too great about that game, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. In a TVT, it's very, very easy to get out-positioned, and when you get out-positioned, there's not really too much you can do. So let's have a look at the results. Just going to bring up the results page. What I should probably do, move this over here so it's easier to get to. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's have a look. So the good thing for DM is that wasn't a 4-0 sweep. Obviously, White Clan are going to be happy with the win. Kane Yang, brand new player to the STPL, taking out Vulture. Yuppie, another brand new player to the STPL, taking out J1. Pre, with a fantastically played PvZ, taking out Fairy. And then Bai, closing out the series 3-1 in favor of White Clan. Gonna take down Kyrie on Carthage 3. So, that is going to be the end of our first series for today. We'll be back, well, I'll be back in just under 5 minutes. For series number 2, it's going to be IRK versus Valhalla team. It should be amazing. Don't go anywhere.